Welcome back, everybody. We're diving into the mind of a true genius today, Leonardo da Vinci. But not just the artist that everybody knows him for,
Okay.
the inventor, the thinker, and,
Mm-hmm.
you've brought some incredible source material to
Da Vinci's
Da
also.
Vinci's own notebooks.
Yes.
So we're going to take a look at his inventions and ideas and kind of reframe them,
Mm-hmm.
in the context of modern tech.
Amazing.
The drones, medical imaging, environmental science, things that we use every day. And I think it'll be really fun.
Yeah, it's remarkable how many parallels you can really draw between his vision and things that we have today.
Exactly.
It really shows how far ahead of his time he was.
Yeah, so let's start with something that seemed to really capture his imagination, and that's flight.
Mm-hmm.
His notebooks are just filled with sketches and observations of birds in flight.
Yeah, he was absolutely captivated by the idea of human flight. And his studies of birds' wings, the movements, and the principles of lift were groundbreaking for his time.
And that led him to design the aerial screw, one of his most famous inventions.
Yes. And he envisioned this large helix-shaped structure, almost like a giant corkscrew that would rotate. And he believed lift a person into the air. And in his notebook, he actually wrote, "The impetus of the air against the underside of the screw will lift it upwards."
Wow.
By impetus, he was referring to the force generated by the rotating blades pushing against the air.
So essentially what he was describing was a very early concept of a helicopter.
Exactly.
Of course, building something like that in the 15th century was pretty much impossible.
Right. He lacked the lightweight materials and, most importantly, the powerful engines needed to make the aerial screw a reality. But the concept itself was revolutionary.
Yeah.
He understood the fundamental principle of lift generated by rotating blades, a principle that forms the basis of modern helicopter flight.
And it goes beyond just helicopters, right? That principle extends to modern drones as well.
Absolutely. Drones rely on the same fundamental idea of rotating blades or rotors to generate lift and achieve flight.
It's just incredible to think that he was envisioning this kind of technology centuries before the first helicopter or drone took to the skies.
Yeah.
What do you think Da Vinci would make of modern drone technology with, their lightweight materials, powerful electric motors, and advanced control systems?
I can only imagine his amazement. He was limited by the technology of his time, but the core concept that he developed lift through rotating blades is at the very heart of what makes drones possible today.
It really makes you wonder if Da Vinci had access to modern materials and engines. Could he have built a working aerial screw?
Yeah.
And how might that have changed the course of history?
It's a fascinating thought experiment.
Totally.
Would we have had flying machines centuries earlier? Would the world be a drastically different place?
Yeah.
It really highlights the importance of innovation, not just in ideas, but also in the materials and technologies that allow us to bring those ideas to life.
Speaking of innovation, Da Vinci's genius wasn't limited to engineering.
Oh, absolutely not.
His notebooks reveal an insatiable curiosity about the human body as well.
Oh, absolutely. He was deeply fascinated by anatomy. He wasn't content with just observing the human form from the outside. He wanted to understand its inner workings.
And he went to some pretty extreme lengths to do that, right?
He did.
He actually dissected human corpses, which was extremely controversial at the time.
Yes, and those dissections allowed him to create incredibly detailed anatomical drawings that were far ahead of their time in terms of accuracy and insight.
Yeah.
It was through these studies that he was able to gain a profound understanding of the muscles, bones, tendons, and organs that make up the human body.
And, his drawings weren't just artistic masterpieces. They were groundbreaking scientific documents.
Absolutely.
And he even wrote, "The painter who has acquired a knowledge of the nature of the sinews, muscles, and tendons will know exactly in the movement of any limb how many and which of the sinews are the cause of it."
It's a remarkable statement that highlights his belief in the interconnectedness of art and science. He saw anatomical knowledge as essential for any artist who wanted to realistically depict the human form in motion.
And that drive to see and understand the inner workings of the body, to visualize what lies beneath the surface.
Yeah.
Does that resonate with how we use medical imaging today?
It absolutely does. Think about X-rays, CT scans, MRI. These technologies allow us to see inside the human body without invasive procedures.
It's like Da Vinci's anatomical drawings have come to life.
Right.
But with even greater detail and precision.
It's true, and it's not just the technology itself that's important, it's the underlying goal.
Yeah.
Just like Da Vinci, we're driven by a desire to understand the complexities of the human body and use that knowledge to improve health and well-being.
So from the skies to the human body, Da Vinci's curiosity seems to have known no bounds.
There's more.
Is there anything else that really captured his attention?
Well, he was also deeply fascinated by water, and his studies of water go far beyond its aesthetic qualities in his paintings. He was intrigued by its movement, its power, and its impact on the environment. His notebooks are filled with sketches of water in motion diagrams of its flow patterns and ideas for harnessing its energy.
Almost like he was approaching water like an engineer, trying
Exactly.
to understand its properties and figure out how to work with it.
Exactly. He designed canals, irrigation systems, and even came up with ideas for diverting rivers.
Wow.
He saw water as a force of nature that could be both destructive and beneficial. And he was keenly interested in how humans could interact with it in a sustainable way.
Which brings us to some really interesting connections with modern environmental science, right?
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
Today, we're facing all sorts of challenges related to water,
Yeah.
scarcity, pollution, flooding, and the impacts of climate change.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Many of the ideas and principles that Da Vinci explored in his notebooks are directly relevant to the work that environmental scientists and engineers are doing today.
Can you give us some specific examples?
Sure, think about his designs for canals and irrigation systems. These ideas are still fundamental to how we manage water resources in many parts of the world. His understanding of water flow and erosion is also relevant to modern efforts to protect coastlines and prevent soil degradation.
It's amazing to think that concepts he was exploring over 500 years ago are still informing our approach to some of the most pressing environmental challenges we face today.
It really highlights the enduring power of observation and innovative thinking. Da Vinci's approach to understanding water wasn't just about finding practical solutions, it was about deeply observing the natural world and trying to unravel its mysteries. And that kind of approach is essential for tackling the complex environmental problems we face today.
So Da Vinci, the artist, the engineer, and now proto-environmentalist,
Mhm.
it seems like his curiosity touched on so many different fields.
Uh,
What else do his notebooks reveal about his wide-ranging interests?
well, prepare to be amazed.
Okay.
He was fascinated by optics and the science of vision.
Oh, wow.
He meticulously studied the anatomy of the eye, dissecting it and creating detailed drawings of its structure.
So not only was he a master of capturing light and shadow in his paintings,
Right.
but he was also trying to understand the very mechanisms that allow us to see light and shadow.
Exactly. There's this wonderful quote from his notebooks where he writes, "The eye, which is called the window of the soul, is the chief means whereby the understanding may most fully and abundantly appreciate the infinite works of nature." It shows how deeply he appreciated the power of vision and how it connected us to the world around us.
And his studies of the eye have parallels to modern ophthalmology and optometry, don't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Today, we have sophisticated instruments and technologies to study the eye and treat vision problems. But the fundamental principles of optics and vision that Da Vinci was exploring are still at the core of these fields. His work laid a foundation for our modern understanding of how we see.
Incredible. It's incredible to think that one person could have made such significant contributions to so many different areas of knowledge.
Right.
But he wasn't always right, was he?
Well,
Did he ever make any mistakes in his observations or theories?
we'll keep in mind that he was working centuries ago without the benefit of modern scientific instruments or the vast body of knowledge we have today.
Right.
So yes, some of his ideas turned out to be incorrect. For example, he believed that the heart was the center of the nervous system, which we now know isn't true.
So even Da Vinci, with his extraordinary intellect, wasn't immune to making errors.
Exactly, and I think that's an important point to remember.
Yeah.
Science is a process of discovery, and it often involves making mistakes, revising our understanding, and building upon the work of those who came before us.
Uh-huh.
Even Da Vinci's incorrect theories provide valuable insights into the evolution of scientific thought.
It makes his accomplishments even more remarkable, doesn't it? He was working at a time when so much about the world was still unknown, yet he made groundbreaking discoveries and laid the foundation for future generations of scientists and engineers.
He did, and I think what's most inspiring about Da Vinci is his insatiable curiosity, his willingness to challenge conventional wisdom, and his dedication to exploring the world around him with open eyes and a questioning mind.
So what can we learn from Da Vinci today, beyond his specific inventions and discoveries? What is his lasting legacy?
I think his greatest legacy is his example of how to approach the world with a sense of wonder and a desire to understand. He teaches us to be observant, to question everything, and to constantly seek new knowledge. He reminds us that learning is a lifelong pursuit, and that it's never too late to explore new ideas and challenge our assumptions.
He truly embodies the spirit of the Renaissance, a period of incredible intellectual and artistic flourishing.
Yeah.
And it's that spirit of curiosity and innovation that we can all strive to cultivate in our own lives.
Absolutely. Da Vinci's life and work demonstrate the power of interdisciplinary thinking, of connecting ideas across different fields. He didn't see rigid boundaries between art, science, engineering, and nature. He saw them as interconnected parts of a larger whole.
And that's a valuable lesson for us today, isn't it? In a world that often feels increasingly specialized and compartmentalized, it's important to remember the power of making connections, of seeing the bigger picture, and of approaching problems from multiple perspectives.
It is. Da Vinci's work shows us that the most innovative solutions often come from blending knowledge from different fields, from seeing patterns and connections that others might miss.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the mind of Leonardo da Vinci, what's the one key takeaway you'd like our listener to remember?
I'd say it's this. Embrace your own curiosity. Don't be afraid to ask questions, explore new ideas, and make connections across different fields. You might just surprise yourself with what you discover.
It's a wonderful message to leave our listener with, and I think it perfectly captures the spirit of Da Vinci's legacy. Wow. It's been an amazing journey exploring Da Vinci's mind. We've seen how his ideas about flight foreshadowed modern drones, how his anatomical studies paved the way for medical imaging, and his fascination with water connects to contemporary environmental science. It's so striking that he was making these observations and developing these ideas centuries before the technology even existed to fully realize them. Yeah, it really speaks to the power of human ingenuity and the enduring relevance of fundamental principles. Da Vinci was a true visionary, but his vision wasn't just about imagining things that didn't exist. It was also about deeply understanding the principles of nature and applying that understanding to solve problems and create new possibilities. It's like he was laying the groundwork for future generations to build upon. His notebooks weren't just personal musings, they were a blueprint for innovation. Yeah.
And what's fascinating is that his work continues to inspire us today. Scientists, engineers, artists, and thinkers from all walks of life still find inspiration in his notebooks. They're a testament to the power of curiosity, observation, and a relentless pursuit of knowledge.
So as we conclude our deep dive, I'd love to pose a challenge to our listener. Imagine Da Vinci were alive today. What modern technologies or scientific advancements do you think would most captivate his imagination? What problems would he be trying to solve? What new possibilities would he be exploring?
It's a wonderful thought experiment. Would he be designing even more advanced flying machines? Would he be pushing the boundaries of medical imaging to develop new ways to diagnose and treat diseases? Would he be working on solutions to the climate crisis, drawing on his deep understanding of water and the natural world?
It's exciting to think about the impact he could have in the 21st century with all the tools and technologies we have at our disposal.
It is, and I think that's the most important message to take away from our exploration of Da Vinci's work. His legacy isn't just about the specific inventions or discoveries he made. It's about the spirit of inquiry, the passion for knowledge, and the boundless curiosity that he embodied.
He reminds us that we all have the potential to be innovators and discoverers, to see the world with fresh eyes and make connections that others might miss.
Exactly. So as you go about your day, try to channel your inner Leonardo look around you with a sense of wonder. Ask questions, seek out new knowledge, and who knows, you might just stumble upon the next groundbreaking discovery or innovation.
That's a perfect note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the mind of Leonardo da Vinci.